The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association connects riders with the best certified coaches to elevate their riding experience and improve their skills. A safe learning environment is the first step to good coaching, and all USMCA certified coaches uphold the values and code of conduct of the USMCA. Our coaches have cleared a national level background check and are CPR and first aid certified. Log on to motorcyclecoaching.org, type in your zip code to find the coach nearest you. As we get started on another Real Talk 447, Ricky and I would like to thank our partners for the show: RockyMountainATVMC.com, Slick Products, ODI Grips, and Fox Racing. And make sure that you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss an episode.
Said if you can't win, wreck someone who can.
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
All right, welcome to another Real Talk 447 with Ricky Carmichael and myself, Jeff Emig. And today, David Vuillemin is joining the show, who, of course, has won a ton of races in supercross, motocross, and I believe motocross Grand Prix. So we're going on the clock for 30 plus 2 starting now. All right, welcome to the show, David. How are you, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
That's right there.
What's that?
Did I get your stats right? Did you win some Grand Prix before you came over here?
Yes. 125 GPs and also 250 GPs, and then supercross, motocross. Won some races pretty much everywhere, but not enough, I guess.
Well, you know, one thing that was surprising, as Ricky and I were doing a little bit of research getting into this, is that here in America, you didn't win any 125 motocross events.
Because I never rode 125 outdoors. That's pretty much what it is.
There you go. All right.
Hey, DV, when he was saying that, I was like, oop, careful. I do know one where he kicked our ass, and that was my favorite race, or not so much favorite race. Where was that? Mount Morris.
Yeah, that was that was 250 race. But yeah, I actually never raced a 125 outdoors because I was a GP rider and only came at the beginning of the season just to ride some supercross. And I never got the chance to come and ride 125 outdoors. I'm not saying I would have won 125 outdoor races because I'm in a generation with Ricky and he was dominating back then, but I actually never raced a 125 outdoor race.
Which is interesting because essentially now your focus right now is as a coach for Dylan Ferrandis, who essentially is in the 125 class. Now it's, of course, the 250 four-stroke class.
Yeah, obviously, guys from Europe, they come earlier and earlier now in their career. And but I decided, 20 years ago that I wanted to come full-time in the U.S. in a premier class right away. I kind of rode some 125 West Coast just to, learn. I actually rode a few 250 supercrosses as a GP rider in 1999 before coming full-time in 2000. So, but we had offers and from actually American Honda to come and race 125 class. But my parents and I, we decided to stay in Europe and come in the US on a 252 stroke as the rookie,
Straight away. Wow.
I remember my first, the first time that I ever saw you, David, was I believe I went to visit Bercy Supercross. I can't even remember when, 1994, 95, I believe it was. You were on a Kawasaki. So that was my first recollection of you. So our viewers and listeners that are watching. So I had seen David before he even came to the States. And then I believe I was in California, and was it 95, 96? I believe you raced some races over here still. Were you on Cowie that year still? I can't remember.
Yeah, 1990. The first year I came, I actually raced. My first supercross race was Anaheim, 1996. I was on a Kawasaki. Yeah, I moved to Yamaha in '97, but my first time in the US, I was on the Kawi. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you were here, then you went back to GPs, and then like you said, come in 2000, and you know, you and I have had some fantastic battles. I think that the respect level was always so high. I think we grew up in a great generation, a lot of great talent, just like there is today. And I've been pretty open on the broadcast, or if I talk to anybody, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but I think you're great for any European rider that's wanting to come over here and spread their wings. You know the process. You know who is who. And not even just, you know, European riders. I think you have a tremendous value to any rider. And what I mean by that is your racecraft, your race IQ. You know, you've won and raced against the best in the business when you look at the stats, and you've had a fantastic career. It looks like you've managed your finances proper. You can do what you want for the most part. You live pretty even keel. And I think as you look at from life from a whole, you've done a damn good job, and a lot of respect for you. And when you have the success that you have had off the bike, I get excited for you. You know, I know what your value is, and it's cool to see you transition into the riding coach position that you're doing now. I think you have a tremendous value, and it's been fun to watch you and Dylan and how you've been able to help him. I feel like sitting back and watching, you can see the things that you have told him. I almost like when I'm watching him, I'm like, I know he has listened to David in this instance, and just his positioning and what he needs to do, and basically race plan. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's been a process, obviously, but you know, as far as, you know, career goes, you know, it's in the past. It was, you know, it was good. Obviously, could have been better, could have been worse. You know, we got out almost injury free. You know, we got out with enough money to live. You know, I always lived very modestly. And then to this day too, you know, like I live in a small place, you know, I have a regular car, you know, I don't, I live very modestly, and which I really like, you know, I don't like the big stuff. And the process with Dylan has been fun, frustrating, sometimes, but it's been almost 3 years that we worked together, and then it's been a long road, and trying to, you know, I think you set the bar like early 2000 with the training, and then the riding, and like the dedication and the will to win. But you know, you hear a lot of people that everybody wants to win, you know, oh, I want to win. But do you really want to win? You need to do the work, you know, and I've been, you know, trying to teach Dylan, and he gets it now, because after 3 years, and if, you know, moto is not your number one priority, and what you think about when, you know, you wake up in the morning, when you have lunch, and then when you go to bed at night, I don't think you can be successful, because there's somebody's going to work harder than you. And obviously you are like still an example as when I teach him, or when I try to tell him stuff, you know, because you set really the bar, like you change the sport, and then the sport is where it's at because of you, basically, because before you, we didn't have like a Tomac, you know, like super like strong, and I think, and even Dylan now, I think Dylan is maybe arguably the fastest 250 guy in the US, arguably the fittest guy too, but it goes to, you know, it's almost like always, what would Ricky do, you know, like it's and this that's what I'm trying to teach him, and he gets it. And seriously, I worked with a few guys since I retired, and you have no idea. Or Dylan follows everything. You know, I make Excel sheets with programs and training and all this, and 95% of the time I'm at the track when he rides. Maybe this year I missed maybe 4 or 5 days, but very small. But even if I'm not here during the training, you know, now with all the, you know, the watches and the apps, you can follow everything that they do. And then, so you know exactly that you follow the program to the T. And this is what's really important, just to have people realize the volume of work you have to do, the dedication on every day with repetition, and realize that you have to do this if you want to be, you know, winning. You know, not only in a 250, you need to show him, like, even now, like the work he's doing now, it might not be enough for when he moves to the 450. It's a different ball game. A heavier bike, more inertia, more power, competition, stiffer competition too. So, but it's been fun. I think you realize that, and that's why I'm still here after 3 years. If not, I would have said, you know what, I don't need this. You know, I don't need to go to the track every other day and every weekend. So it's fun because he gets my vision. It's kind of working, and so that's why we're still here.
Well, dude, the racing this summer, whether it's the 250 class or the 450 class, has been exceptional. We haven't done one of these shows since before Ironman. And so Ricky and I were going to step back a little bit and go, you know, dig all the way back. I mean, we got 3 races that we have to throw in this episode. So we're really going to hit the high points. But one, if you go back to Ironman, Dylan's rides at Ironman were incredible because he blows everybody away the first moto, right? And then goes down in the start, the second moto, and he was down for a long time. And I tried to look, and I'm thinking he was maybe 38 seconds off of the lead when he got up, you know? And then what he ended up 10 seconds off the lead or something at the end of the race. Like, yeah. And that's going through the pack. That was incredible. I mean, just one of the best rides of the year. It's making hairs on my arm stand up thinking about it, you know, just being in those positions. You know, we've all been there before, and just being able to see him go out and do that. And what was it like that day, and what was the conversations afterwards? Because he was just on fire.
Yeah, it was such a big contrast between the two motos. You know, the first one was pretty easy, all shot. We kind of like took the first inside where I felt like it was a little drier, and then a little like a big advantage maybe to go first gate, even if the position on the gate was not good, but the traction on the straightaway was would have been better, not as deep as in the middle. Worked out, you know, like it's when I see Dylan top 5 after the start, I'm happy, you know, like, so him leading right away, and then it took him a few laps to get going, like at his speed, and then obviously he won by like 25 or something, 25 seconds. But second moto, that's what we worked for, you know, like where you go hard for 30+2, and you have the ability to do it without, you know, questioning your preparation, your fitness, your speed, your bike, anything. All you have to focus on is to get one guy, like one by one every time, and find a way to score the most points as possible. And I thought that was obviously a great ride. Well,
he was passing 2 guys at a time.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it was insane.
Yeah, and for me, it is obviously the goal to be outdoor champion for him, because he's been in the class for a while now, and obviously if he's not champion this year, it'd be like a disappointment. But those rides will help him in the future, even in the 450 and everything, you know, because for me, there's no better practice and training than racing. And when you race a 30+2 at that speed with that pressure of passing that many people, he actually improves. Yes, he got a great a third place, and then that was a great result. But in the long run, that's also helps him improve physically. Also his ability to pass other guys. But yeah, too bad it wasn't good enough to win the race. But it was a great ride.
Yeah, it's certainly a building block. And those are extreme. I mean, Jeff, just listening to David, it's so good to hear him. I mean, his strategy, and he's looking at it from a big picture, right? And you're exactly right, David. Does it suck that you didn't win? Of course it does. We all want to win. But in the end, when you can mount really, really good rides like that, come from basically dead last, work your way through a really, really tough field, tracks that are hard to pass on. It was wet and deep, like we were talking about, which makes it even harder to pass. To do that, it is just making him better. It's preparing him for battles that he is going to have to face when he goes to the 450 class. There's no doubt about it. But I love your insight right there. And yeah, taking a step back and looking at it, big picture. I mean, you're exactly right. It is making him a better rider, without a doubt.
Hey, does it piss you off that the Monster Energy Yamahas grab the whole shot all the time, but it's not your guy?
I know. Actually, it kills me because you know why a lot of people, they don't think we work on them. They don't think they all say, oh, work on your start. Don't you think we do? And a lot. We try to find a setup. We need to find different things. And, it's funny because we were at Pala on Tuesday before the first Redbird race. It was a couple amateur kid and Ty Masterpool. They did starts with Dylan after the riding. So it was Fry, LeBlanc, and Masterpool. And we actually did the gate, like the national gate. We put 40 gates up, and they did starts on the national gate. The mechanics were doing the gates every time, just like a regular start. They did 15 or 20 starts on Tuesday afternoon. Dylan started in front of Masterpool every single time. Every single time, Dylan started in front 20 times.
Oh.
And then you go to the race. So Masterpool get back to the nationals, and Masterpool did 3 all shots out of 4 motos. And Dylan is like over the top 10, is 18 or something in the first lap, 3 out of 4 times. I'm like,
McGrath, it's the other one. You're like,
I know what's going on.
So I support Justin Cooper with the Emig Pro grip, right? So I'm a little biased, right? But he's on the same team. And I text him, I'm like, dude, you've got to get some hole shots here. You're good off the starts, because it's so competitive that, that advantage that they have by getting the start is so great. And I'm like, dude, come on, get some starts here.
Yeah, no, and I'm not really pushing. I don't like to say to the rider I work with that, oh, you got to get an all shot to win, because when when riders don't get good start, then they're gonna say, oh, if I don't get an all shot, I can't win. But I still think, like, even if you start 12, you can still win if you're better. The class is not that deep. If you bet faster and more fit than anyone else, and didn't show that. And I think, he hurt his shoulder the first moto at the first Redbird race. He's not at 100%, but still, his riding, he still needs to improve a lot. There's I can point out 15 mistakes he did in the moto that cost him a couple seconds here and there. And when you look at the last moto of the season right now, he finished like 4 or 5 seconds off J-Mart. You know, if you don't make like
Or
make
mistake.
mistakes and bad decision. You know, like he kept going outside before LaRocco's leap because he wanted to jump LaRocco's leap, but he was losing like over a second going that stupid outside that was blown out rather than staying inside and then scrubbing doubles. On that point, and we had to put on a board inside before the leap. You know, like don't try. You're gonna make like half a second jump in it, but you're losing a second and a half in a turn. How does that work?
Let me ask you, do you put it in French or English?
We got to put it in English because mechanic is American, so I'm on the radio. But he knows a couple French words, but yeah, English. Yeah, we try to be as
Yeah.
cannot write too many things on the board, but yeah, we try to give him the best pointers we can.
Yeah, well, Ricky and I were talking. I mean, it's almost like there's been great competition, but it's kind of this 250 class. You're starting to see that Dylan and Jeremy Martin are really rising to the top, right? Dylan had a really good first part of this season. Martin's had the if you look at it, the second half, these last 3 or 4 or 5 motos have been really good for him, but they did get together last weekend. And Ricky, you had some thoughts on that?
Well, I was like, it was hard to tell. So Dylan was on the inside. Was there 2 ruts? I couldn't watch it in slow-mo. I was trying to watch it in slow-mo and I really couldn't tell if those 2 lines merged into one. What was it? Because I mean, Dylan didn't go all the way in there and just collide with them. Obviously they came together, but my point, I can't make a guess and analysis unless I know, was there a little line to the outside? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I think it's when you look at it, you see J-Mal jumping the tabletop before, kind of like in the middle. Mm-hmm. And at that point, Dylan is really close. He's in the air at the same time.
Yeah.
And when he's in the air on the tabletop, I think he's like, I'm going to go inside. You know, you see the opening because there's half of the track right there at the landing of the tabletop. And then obviously J-Mal kind of like goes towards the inside. And then, you know, Dylan already committed to try to go and get that inside line. Obviously, when they get, I think it was like maybe 2 ruts that went into 1 because in that inside rut, in the turn, there's only 1, you know. But at that point, there's like, depending what side you're on, you're biased or not. At one point, if you don't like Dylan, you say, oh, I should have maybe, when he saw like J-Mar come in and go for the inside line, you can lay it off or break. And then if you're on Dylan's side, you can say, yeah, but J-Mar had to, you know, feel he was there, just kind of like stand up and, you know, overshot the rut and then let him go, basically. So they both went for it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
one was like defending, one was in offense, and then at one point they collided. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it goes to what happened at the beginning of Supercross. I don't even want to talk about that, but dude, I feel like looking at the replay, yeah, Jeremy had to have known he was there, and if he didn't know he was there, then I think it's poor awareness of where he is and who's what.
He knew he was there. Come on.
Okay, so at that stage, myself personally, it was so tight. You don't want to close. You don't want to close the door on someone when it's that tight. And the reason that is, in my mind, is because you risk taking yourself out by doing that. Yes, Dylan was on the inside, okay, but Jeremy was a half a handlebar ahead of him. I mean, at some point, he had a decision because I think that Dylan was going to hold his line. And I just think that he had to go to the outside there. And he knew that I think there's a point when you're in that moment that something has to click for you instantly. You have to have that instinct to like, okay, I got to abort and go to the outside. It's easy for us to sit here on Tuesday and talk about it, but That's my thoughts. I mean, it's racing. Listen, these guys know it's between them two for the title, and none of them are going to give an inch.
It looked like to me that when Dylan went in, that he got his front brake on his arm or his elbow or whatnot. Dylan did, right? And so once you hit that front brake, it gives you a little bit of this. I mean, they got together. They're going for it. You know, hey, it happens. There's a lot of racing left. Or actually not so much. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 motos left to go, right?
Yeah, but you know, they were side by side. You know, like it's not like somebody got T-bone or whatever.
No, not like you guys back in the day.
No, I think you know, there's a. I don't know if it's the power of social media and everybody's getting a little on the soft side, but you know, we can come back to Anaheim too when Dylan took out Craig. That was a poor decision. Did he intend to take him out here and take himself out of the championship at the same time? That's dumb. That's dumb to think that was permitted, and he wanted to take him out. He saw the opening, the same thing. It was a bad move, like a bad decision move. You know, okay, I get it.
He just wasn't close. I like the idea, but he was late. He was like at least a bike link, if not 2 bike links, too far back. The idea was great because he was going for it, and you got to applaud him for it. But it's just like, you know,
it was late.
12 years on Supercross and Motocross. You go in, you guys get together. If you both go down, you went too deep, and that's
I understand.
Nobody's
I'm fine with it.
Crash themselves, yeah.
But everything that happened after, obviously, you got a lot of crap for it. You know, especially with Christian, he's fan favorite. So and Dylan is French, so it's maybe the worst case that can happen. But it's just like Marvin and Tomac a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude,
everybody hated Marvin, but if you put Tomac that take out Marvin in the same spot, you know, Tomac is the king. You know, like I don't.
Well, that's interesting.
What about Indy 2002? I mean,
well, that was clean. So
right? Let's go to Indy 2002. I mean, it's the same thing. You take out the golden child.
Was that
have to pay? I'm like, dude, I did nothing. I promise I did nothing. And then we go fast forward to Anaheim 03. Dude, even TP, he's like, dude, I tried to run over your back tire and took myself out. But the fans didn't know. There was no social media back then. So to your point, DV, I totally think that social media, just people talk. Yes, listen, there are great things about social media, but unfortunately that's a negative part. And I think we've all been on that side. So I don't think it was as bad for all 3 of us when we were racing because it wasn't there. You didn't have to hear someone's opinion or read someone's opinion on social media. And honestly, I think people back then liked rough riding. They wanted to see guys go after it.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's been 18 years since Indy 2002. And to this day, I still defend you on the move on Travis. Travis missed the rut, wanted to come back, and you were in it. I'm like, what are you supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
You know, like wait for me to go by on the outside and pass both of you guys. No,
you were gonna do that.
Yeah, I was right there. I was behind. I saw the whole thing live. You know, and I heard the boos of 60,000 people after that. That was crazy. But to this day, I still defend you. Like. I'm like, TP made a mistake, you know, that Ricky had nowhere to go, you know, kind of.
You were up my ass and I had to get by. So, yeah. Oh, well, it's fun.
All right. Hey, guys, we got 2.5 minutes and then we throw the 2-lap board. So the 450 racing these last 6 motos has been pretty damn incredible. What's your thoughts on that?
Great racing. I think, you know, I don't know if Tomac kind of like is not feeling as good as he used to be. He's not dominating right now, and that makes it, you know, great for everybody. You know, like it's been a while since we've seen like 5 guys in like 6-7 seconds in 3 laps to go. So. I think some guys are like stepping up. obviously Osborne's been doing really good, managing his points lead, and he had a great race, you know, like Red Bud won. But behind it's not very consistent. There's great rides. We see Baguette second moto yesterday. Still consistency is not there. Marvin seems like he's good one moto out of two. Second moto has been, you know, struggling. And then Tomac, it's kind of like we don't know what's going on. I think the riding is not as good as the last few years. Seems like he's fighting the track and the bike a lot more than the previous years. Everything came super like natural for him outdoors back in the day, and the last few years, I guess. And then this season it's tough. Yeah.
Well, we got about 30 seconds here before we throw the board out. So let's just go ahead and give me two final questions here, Ricky.
I want to know if you feel, David, that Zach Osborne is the guy. Do you think he's found his 250 form finally in the 450 class? Like, do you think he is a guy that we saw a couple years in the 250 class, and are you impressed with what he's been able to do basically from when we were in Salt Lake City and kind of turn that whole year and a half of crappy results and subpar results? Do you feel like he has risen above and has been able to get back to where we thought he was going to be?
Yeah, I think Zach's win in Salt Lake was good for his confidence, you know. But I think his program is good. He's always been like a good rider. Obviously, national champ. And I think if you're a national champ in a 250, it helps you in a 450 class like tremendously, because it's not much different. You know, it's not as when you're like a regional 250 supercross, you know, guy that's, you know, winning. It doesn't transform as a good 450 supercross rider because it's only half the field, and then it's more races, and it's way different. The transition is big, but transitioning from 250 outdoors to 450 outdoors, it's pretty much the same amount of races. The length of the motors are the same. It's only 200 cc's, so less change. So if you're really good outdoors, same as you, Ricky, you won the Nationals in 99. In 2000, you won the Nationals, you know, but you did not win. You won the Supercross in 98. You did not win Supercross 250 two-stroke in 99. So
nope.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So the transition from outdoors in the two classes, it's almost exactly, it's very similar because same tracks, same length of motos, same amount of races, and so only the bike that changed, and obviously the competition. But that's why I think, you know, experience in the 250 class outdoors helps him now, you know, and then I think he's been doing a tremendous job.
And last
final, no, go ahead, Ricky. I got the final question after you.
Oh, you do? Okay, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it. Final question.
Just to keep on our time frame here, you know, I don't deny the fact that it's got to be really tough being a foreign rider coming to race in America. Especially motocross, things like that, the things we're talking about, the fans and whatnot, how they seem to be biased sometimes. What was your experience like? What was difficult about coming to race in America as a foreign rider?
Seriously, I had, you know, not issues, but experiences with biased fans, you know, telling me to go back to France in the tunnel of Supercross. But it's a minority, you know. I think I've been welcome in this country very well. You know, I signed with Team Yamaha right away. They became family to this day. Everything is good. You cannot say and talk in general about like minorities, like people that don't like you. But it was tough, you live, when I first moved here, I came in an empty house with my parents. We slept on the floor for 2 days before we got our furniture, and, big culture change, no friends, no family. That's 1999. So internet, phones, and all this was not very good to keep in touch with family. We used to send faxes back then, remember?
Yeah.
So, it was tough. But, I think that the most difficult things was just on the sports side of it. 16, 17 supercrosses, 12 outdoors, heat, humidity. You do like 30 races a year and like 35 weekends. I think and then when you're done with this, you have like a week off, and then you go back testing supercross for the following year. Seriously, the challenge is, as a regular life, I think America is pretty simple to live. Like everywhere in the country you go, you have the same sign, and then you can feel like almost you're in California because you have this, the gauge is pretty much the same, just a few things, I never miss French food. You can find great food in the US even now. I like eating in the US more than in France right now. I think there's, in 2020, I have great addresses. I'm living good, but yeah, I think that the only changes were, having to race against Jeremy McGrath. I think that, Jeff. You race with him, so I had to race that dude that was pretty good supercross rider, and then the other dude showed up. The name Ricky showed up. So those were big changes, more than the guys telling me to go back to France because they didn't like me. I didn't really care about that.
Well, we're stoked that you're still here. Really pleased that you have found a rider like Dylan Ferrandis, and that you can transfer all of your knowledge and expertise that you've had and experience from your racing, and help the next generation. So, final thoughts to you guys?
I just want to say thanks for coming on, DV. I have a ton of respect for you. I'm glad to see. It looks like you truly are having fun. I appreciate your openness and candidness on social media, and really, I think you speak the truth. You're not afraid to call someone on what you feel isn't correct, and 99.9% of the time you are right with your answers, and it's cool to see success. Congratulations on back-to-back championships with Dylan as well, and best of luck for this Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me here. It's a coming from being under the spotlight to behind the scene now. Like we don't really feel much appreciated even with the work we do. Like with Dylan, I do from A to Z. Like the training, the recovering, the riding, pretty much everything. So now it's a little sometimes like I feel like, oh, maybe I would like somebody to notice that I'm actually here and doing a good job. So I thank you guys for having me on the show. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And we're gonna try to have fun. And I do this actually not because I need a job. So you were saying like I tell it the way it is, because I don't have to salvage my spot or to keep my job or to be, my integrity is very important to me. So even if I have to say like, oh, Dylan messed up, I'm going to say it. And then if because integrity is more important than a paycheck or anything else. You know what I mean? So that's the way I am.
Well said, David, we really appreciate you being on. Ricky, another good show as always. If you guys haven't already, please click the subscribe and the like buttons here if you're on YouTube and on your podcast providers. So that's it, guys. Thank you for another good episode, great episode of Real Talk 447 30+2. And as always, David, as you know, we go out with the Andrew McKeek Band and This Old Lie. See you guys.
Bye.